Okay, welcome to a brand new segment of my channel called Music Moments. So, for this episode of Music Moments, I want to talk about the struggle of a musician's mind in the journey of learning new music. And I'm speaking from the perspective of a classical pianist. Um, should I give my background? I probably should. Okay. So, typical story of starting when I was young and then doing music at school, not really working all that hard, but just kind of going based on my talent, to BH. Then I did a BCom degree in financial accounting, and then I started. I finished the degree, and then I switched over to a music degree. So I studied BMAS, and I specialized in music education. Now I've always loved performing, but I want to say many of my flaws contributed to the performance space, the classical performance space being quite a war zone in my mind. And me being, I want to say, a mental health advocate or advocate for mental health, so maybe activist is the right word. Having a lot of struggles and being on a very personal journey in terms of therapy and Jesus and working through some things. I found it really important, especially this year, because I'm on a gap year this year, and I found it really important to take time to delve deeper into the reasons for my struggles and the reasons for my cycles that are so unhealthy. Because if any of you can relate, I'm just putting up all of my hands and my feet and the fingers that contribute to making it more hands. It's like, if you've ever experienced the war zone that it is if you're a perfectionist, and if you have a very low self-esteem and you sit behind a piano with a classical audience, and you play classical music, it is horrible. Like, it could be one of the most painful experiences of your life, and that is certainly what I've experienced. Because you're sitting there. I remember a performance last year at the start of the year, and I was in a really bad space, and I remember thinking, like walking onto the stage, being like, I can't do this, and I sat down, and that whole performance was just giving up in my mental space. I was just like, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I suck at this. It's just beating yourself, self-sabotage in the mind and self-destructive talk all the time. And so, yeah, I've always dreamt of being a classical pianist and being a performer, and really like delving into my true potential and delving into what I am capable of doing, knowing that God's given me a gift, God's given me something. And over the years, people have always told me, you have something, and I always did well in like the state fits and my exams and things like that. So, and I wasn't working that hard, so I knew that there was something. If my talent and whatever was bringing me there was not bringing me there, but bringing some sort of showcase of greatness, you know what I mean? Then imagine if I just had to put hard work into it, consistent hard work. And so that seed of, I want to say, hope, and that seed of, I know I can do this, has always been there. Yet the roots of my perfectionism and the roots of my low self-esteem and the roots of my destructive self-talk, it choked that. It choked the possibility of growth in that. And so it's been so necessary for me to sit down and realize that where my perfectionism come from, obviously childhood, parental issues and things, and just, low self-esteem. Because if you're perfectionist, your self-esteem is incredibly low, and you don't think very good and very well of yourself because you constantly feel as though you're never enough, and whatever you do is never enough because it's not perfect enough. I mean, what are you constantly striving for? Perfectionism is constantly we strive for something better, something more, something has to be better, something has to be greater, and so that is an unhealthy mindset, because there's never contentment in that. There's never true rest in the fact that I am enough, this is enough, and that there's always room for improvement. There's not contentment in that. There's not satisfaction. And so it's just this constant striving, which is really horrible. But that, if anyone can relate, just put up a hand. But that's definitely my situations and my things or whatever and my experiences. And so this year, my gap year, I decided I really want to pursue my, I want to say my career or my gift. I want to pursue my gift as a classical pianist, and I want to pursue and really delve into what I'm capable of producing and what I'm capable of achieving. I want to achieving, but what I'm capable of achieving. I'm still dealing with that word being what it means to me, because, and this is also 5 cents in the past, or with the perfectionism and everything, the whole idea and concept of achievement and success is something that is so daunting. To achieve required such a mental turmoil and such mental if I'm saying anguish, like worsteling. In Afrikaans is the word worstel. So there's constant like war going on and constant battles. Oh, it is honestly it's horrible. And I've not experienced that in a very, I want to say not a very long time, but it's not been my portion for a very long time. Still, don't get me wrong, the struggle of feeling insecure, the struggle and the honesty of I don't think I'm good enough is there. You know, the honesty of I don't think this is enough is there, because it's a constant journey. I think this is something I'll probably always struggle with, just in different degrees, you know. But that anguish is something that has, I'm not going to say dissipated, don't get me wrong, but it's something that has become less. It's something that has become quieted. And it reminds me of the scripture actually in Zephaniah 3 verse 17 or something like that, where it says, I'm sorry, but I'm sweating. It's probably not a good thing that I'm wiping my face the whole time, but I'm in the streets. Italy is doing the most with my life. But just the constant, what am I saying? Zephaniah. And the Lord will quiet you with his love, and just how perfect love casts out all fear, and just the genuineness of love, God's love being the center, because it's in that love that one can be honest and be like, I am in a war right now. And that also reminds me of Hillsong United. They have a song, it's not Prince of Peace, it's the other one, I think, or no, it's Prince of Peace. Your love surrounds me when my thoughts wage war. When night screams terror, there your voice will roar. Come death or shadow, God, I know your peace will lead me there. And in God's love, his love is also peace, you know. And so in his love there is peace too. And so it's just that the peace of his love, and where we can find that, I want to say, stability in that shadow of, oh my word, I'm protected, I'm guarded, I'm guided. I'm protected and I'm guarded here, and I can be honest here. I don't have to be the one to put up the front to try to fight this the whole time, because if you've tried to fight those battles with your own will, it's not really helped. I don't know, for me it has not helped. You know what I'm saying? It brought me to a certain point, don't get me wrong. It's brought me to a certain point, but then from that point onwards, and even up until that point, but God's love is the thing that takes us further. I experienced that last year, especially, and moving into this year, it's like, okay, this is where I'm at. That honesty and sincerity of saying, this is where I'm at. I cannot do anything about this, but just be honest to you about it, and you and your love has got to do the rest, because and your love is what brought me here, and then your love will do the rest too, because I firmly believe that you know, there's that saying that just do your best and God will do the rest. And I see the perspective in that, and I want to add to it in saying that God helps me to do my best. And so even he's part of everything, you know, he's not just part of the rest, he's part of the best too, you know. But just that being the experience. And so that's a great deal of the mental struggle. And so now that I'm busy working on this Schumann concerto movement, the first one, Opus 54, first movement, I played it last week for my recital, and I prepared it for this festival. And I worked on some things, and I was working really hard on that concerto movement. I started in May and whatever. And so then last week I practiced it, and there were some things that I struggled with, and I was like, I'm just not getting this right, you know. And I know that with music and with practicing, there's a thing like time, you know, time plays such a big role. Like, you can't start something last week and expect for it to be perfect this week. You know what I mean? Like, it's sitting with it. It's the repetition of it, but also sitting with it, and fingers getting used to it, and in your mind then being comfortable with the notes, and then you only start really practicing the performance of it. Sorry, and then even in the performance of it, there's another step to it, and the comfort of it, and so it's all of that. And I just felt so discouraged this morning, especially even with my list as well. I'm playing Rubens round number 3, and I just felt so discouraged because I'm like, I've been working on these things for long, you know, and it's like there's a point where you feel like, can it just get right? Can it just be what you want it to be? And then it's like, okay, but with pieces and with works like these, you never, there's a peak that you reach in it. You know, you can play it well, whatever, but I think one can always improve on it, and one can always learn more and add more to it, and just that whole journey. Is that a kid? Just that whole journey. Anyway, but point is just I'm there where I'm like, yo, okay, I've been discouraged now, and now I think now I can, work on it again, essentially, because I'm like, these things time, and I've been working really hard, and I know that it will pay off. I saw last week when I was playing that Beethoven, because I played the Moonlight Sonata, and I was like, girl, you pulled it off. And there was a time when I felt like that, especially with the third movement, where I felt like, why is this not working? I've been working hard on it, but it's not yet there. And so I think I'm feeling like that with this, and I can take comfort in knowing that race that I had there, it's gonna pull through here too. And this might not be the best performance that I ever have of it, but it's going to be a better one than the previous one, because there is work that I have done, and because there is further contemplation, further like rest in it, and further sitting with it. Sometimes you just gotta sit with it. And so I can trust that those seeds that I've been planting, I can trust that the watering that I've been doing, that God will give increase, making it very spiritualized. But that is the scripture. But also I can trust that the fruits, I will bear the fruit of it. I can trust that. And just see what happens. I think there's such a great deal. I remember at Jennifer's, there's such a great deal of just letting the music be. We're the facilitators of the musical process, and we just gotta let it be. But okay, I'm gonna go practice now. But this was good. Music moments. Did I say music moments, or did I say musical moments? Oof. Swoola. I don't know if you've watched that film, but anyway, Swoola. Wild Child. Okay, bye.